Hello everyone, at 1995 here in the video games and fanfiction plot with a new story for you all. It is called His Queen. If you guys don't know, it's another Transformers fanfiction, and I do hope you enjoy this story. And remember, I do not own the Transformers Prime series or this story. I give full credit to its author Syzzy WinterFalls 13 on Quotev. Now on to the story. Metal-eating spiders. The base was unnaturally quiet, since Molly was out. She didn't even tell anyone where she was going. She just got a phone call, said it was important, and left. Ratchet was checking Bulkhead, for they just went to the Arctic. "I told you, Doc," Bulkhead sighed, ripping off the cables, "we're fine." He tried to get up, but was stopped by the grouchy medic. "The only way to be certain you're fine, Bulkhead, is to endure standard defrosting procedure," Ratchet stated, pushing him back down. "You know, prolonged exposure to sub-zero conditions can cause permanent system damage." Optimus and RC walked up behind him. "Ratchet, have you learned anything more about our Arctic find?" Optimus asked. Ratchet turned to a screen, showing a camera feed. "Not yet. The pod can't be opened while it's frozen solid," Ratchet exclaimed, motioning towards the video. Optimus nodded, looking around. "It appears Molly hasn't returned," he observed, raising his hand. "I find it strange that she left in such a hurry." Ratchet growled, looking at another screen. "If she doesn't come back soon, however, I am going to remove that punching bag." He gestures towards the hanging object. Optimus sighed, and walked towards the ground bridge. "Ratchet, set the ground bridge to our previous coordinates," Optimus ordered, turning to the medic. Ratchet nodded, setting the ground bridge back to the Arctic. "RC and I will search for any clue which might explain the origin of our Arctic find," Optimus said, RC walking up to his side. "Only until your sensors sound," Ratchet told, looking at a device. "Remember, once your core temperature drops into the blue zone, system failures aren't likely." He pointed the device at their insignias, making them flash blue. "They're imminent." Engines roared down the tunnel, as B and Bulkhead drove in. Myco jumped out of Bulkhead, looking up at Ratchet. "Miss us, Doc Bot?" Ratchet groaned, looking at the entering children. "Shouldn't they be in school?" Myco raised her arms. "On Saturday? We have the whole weekend off to spend with you," she taunted, walking towards the stairs. "I wasn't expecting to carpool," Jask said, walking behind Myco. "What gives, RC?" "Tag team, Jack," RC replied, walking towards him. "It's my turn for exploration duty." Jack shrugged, looking to her. "Oh, too bad. It's a beautiful day for a ride." "Would hate for you to feel guilty for leaving me indoors." Jack smirked, crossing his arms. "Arctic exploration duty," RC told, hands on her hips. "Indoors where it's warm." Jack pointed, and went up the stairs. "Hey, where's Molly?" Myco asked, searching for her bestie. "She left earlier," Ratchet claimed without turning. "She got a phone call, then left in a rush. Wonder what's gotten her so anxious." Jack pondered, walking to the couch. "No clue whatsoever," Myco replied, checking her phone. "No recent messages from her." Myco sighed, and flipped her phone closed. "The Arctic?" Raph questioned. "I've always wanted to see snow." "I would invite you to join, Raphael," Optimus replied, "but the conditions are too extreme, even for we Autobots." Raph glanced down in understanding. Understand." Optimus started to walk into the ground bridge, and stopped. "But, I will bring you back a snowball." Raphael perked up. "That would be awesome." "Hey, Raph!" Myco yelled down to the 12-year-old, "Can you help us out with tracking Molly's cell phone?" Raph looks up to them, and glances back to the exiting Autobots. "Coming." The ground bridge flashes, as Optimus and RC are transported to the Arctic. "Transport complete," Ratchet states, looking up. The device malfunctions, sparking. Ratchet jumps back, shielding away from the broken tech. By the Allspark. Raph jogs up to Jack and Myco, taking out his laptop. I'm going to need her phone number or email. He says, typing. Maiko nods, and hands her phone to him. He types the number in, looking up from his screen time to time. And there. Ref smiles. Now we just have to wait until the screen flashed blue, words indicating an error. That's weird. He gasps, typing more. What is it? Jack leans. Her phone has no tracing marker. I couldn't find it even with government technology. Raf groans, handing back Maiko's phone. Well, that was a bust. Maiko frowned. So, what do you guys think we should do today? She asked, walking towards the couch. Be buzzed, moving his hands like he was playing a video game. Video game tournament. Raf responded, last one standing wins. He sat on the couch, looking at the TV. Bulkhead, Bumblebee. The two turned at their names. Here. Now. They walked over to the grouchy Ratchet, and Raf reached for a remote. He gasped, his hand reaching bare table. Prepare to be destroyed. Maiko boasted, handing Jack a controller. Yeah, not really my thing, Maiko. Jack stated, leaning back onto the couch. Oh? Maiko taunted, scared of losing? To a girl? Jack sighed. Bring it. No mercy. _ Glad to have you with us, Miss Regan. The pleasure is mine, Mr. Grange. The girl greeted nervously, seating across from the man. I have seen your work. You and your Ben are pretty good. Mr. Grange complimented, hands laced together. Well, my members and I work very well together, sir. She stuttered. Looking around. Your office is really big. She bent over, twiddling her thumbs. The man chuckled, taking out a couple of papers. No need to be intimidated, Miss Regan. I don't bite. She nodded, quickly, eyes darting over the pictures and records. Sir, if I may ask. She sighed, hands resting on an armchair. Why did you call me here? All the way in San Monica, California? He chuckled again, smiling. Well, Miss Regan, you and your band have talent I haven't seen in a music group your age in a long time. Your covers are great, and your original songs are spectacular. The teen blushed, looking at her hands. Well, I mean, yes, we're good. But we aren't that good. She stammered, glancing at the papers. You have potential, Miss Regan. And from your more recent songs, you have enough motivation and experience singing to make it big. And your violin skills triple the score. He exclaimed, arranging the papers. Why you? She blinked quickly. You really think so? His elbow rested on the arm of the cushion, hand on his face. I know so. He pulled out a document, a contract. And that is why I want to sign you to a record label. _ You can't boss us around just because the boss is out. Bulkhead exclaimed, walking to Ratchet. I need some heavy lifting. He stated, trying to get the technology to work. The ground bridge is down. Bumblebee beeped, looking to his shoulder. Optimus and RC made it through just fine. Ratchet turned, it's bridging them back that concerns me. Now remove those panels. Chop chop. They groaned, walking over to the area. Maiko and Jack were having at it, taunting each other every chance they got. You're doing as bad as my Nana, and she is 90 years old. Maiko laughs, leaning back and forth. Police. You can't even turn correctly. Jack shoves Maiko, getting off balance. No fair. Maiko yells, and elbows him. Where did Ref go? Jack thought, looking around for a second. Boom. Jack jerks forwards, his car left in Maiko's wake. Seriously? He yells, throwing his arms in the air. Told you I'd win. Maiko smirked, hitting him with the controller. We'll see about that. He growled, and stared at the screen. Admin : and over here I am screaming at Ref to not befriend the Screeplet. Ah, come on. Come on. You want some? Jack murmured, head to head with Maiko. He crashed Maiko's car, and jumped up. In your face. Jack boasted, victory dancing. The lights flickered, turning off. Whoa. What the? Great. Power failure. Maiko shrugged, smirking, it wiped out our game. She threw the controller back, walking away from the morning boy. But, he scoffed, I was winning. Bummer. They walked away from the couch, something scuttling across the wall behind them. Ratchet pulled out a chip from the panels, which had 3 very big bites taken out of it. We most definitely have a problem. He examined the chip, turning it, but could have caused this? The lights flickered on and off again, catching everyone's attention. Or that? Underscore. I can believe it. I just got signed onto a record label for Lucian Grange. I squealed, angling my wings down. In just a week or 2, my music will be played on the radio. We can finally get noticed. I flipped, zooming past the clouds. I stretched out my hand to feel the condensed water, and gleamed. I can't wait to tell everyone. I dove down, air flying past my face. The ground came closer and closer, as I tightened my wings. Woo! I yelled, and the sound barrier blasted in my ears, my body disappearing in the California sun. Underscore. Hey, guys! Look what I found. Ratchet turned, rolling his eyes. We're busy. He looked down, and screamed. Raph was holding a small metal thing. The bots shot up, stepping back. They aimed their guns at it, backing away as far as they could go. Hey, hey! Maiko yelled, as she and Jack blocked Raph away from their aim. What's with you guys? Bulkhead scrambled backwards. Screeplet. Screeplet. Raphael jumps up, looking over Maiko's arm. What's a screeplet? The most dangerous vermin ever to crawl upon the face of Cybertron. The kids looked at each other, then down at the small thing. This? Jack scoffed, are you kidding me? Raph patted the tiny robot, looking up. You're giant robots. Maiko shouted, raising her arms towards them. Scrappy heroes. Teeny Bulkhead spoke fast, still trying to back up. You have no idea of the damage that teeny thing can do. Raphael looked down at his evil little demon from hell pet. He wouldn't harm anything. The scriptlet opened its purple eyes, looking at the scared meshes. The thing opened up its scary as hell mouth, and jerked out of Raph's arms. It crawled towards the bots, mouth snapping open and close. B and Bulk started shooting at it, the scriptlet jumping away from each one. It sprang onto B, eating up his leg. He fell, the scriptlet reaching his knee. A loud boom was heard outside, causing the whole base to shake. Everyone looked up, and B grabbed the scriptlet, taking it off his leg. It crawled out of his hand, and onto his arm. He started shaking, and flung it off. The scriptlet rolled on the ground, getting back up. It scampered towards them again, and Maiko, Jack, and Raph back away, towards B and Bulkhead. The cutting of wing could be heard, as wing beats drummed in the air. A flash of metal pierced the scriptlet's head, going through its entire body. I'm gone for 3 hours, and y'all are getting attacked by a robot spider. A female voice exclaims, as the wing beats draw closer. Molly. Everyone says in relief, as the girl banks down, feathers curling up beside her. You guys alright? She asked, walking towards them, fist opening and claws sheathing back into her knuckles. Just fine, now. Raph says, looking at the scriptlet, thanks Molly. Molly nodded, looking at the impaled creature. What was that? She asked, squinting at the robot. A scriptlet. Ratchet said, getting up. I did not see that coming. Maiko gestured towards the scriptlet. Raph gasped, and ran to the fallen warrior. I'm sorry, Bumblebee. He apologized, Molly watching from afar. B buzzed, looking down at him. Is he going to be okay? Ratchet examined his leg, only a mesh wound. He'll live. No, do you believe me? Bulkhead said, looking at the teens. All scriptlets do is dismantle machinery and eat anything metal, especially living metal. Molly deadpanned, and face-bombed, and I just had to come back. Didn't I? Maiko leaned her head towards her, looking her in the eye. What's wrong? Molly's lip tightened, her hand stretching in her direction. My bones are covered in metal. Maiko's eyes widened. Oh. Jack jogged over to the platform, running to their side. Well, bug squashed, Game over, right? Ratchet shook his head. No. When it comes to scriptlets, there's never just one. He said sharply, and I fear I know how they got in here. Molly looked at him and thought, so they are like roaches mixed with termites mixed with piranhas. Whoop-de-doo. She followed them to a room, floor covered in cold water, and a huge orb in the middle. What is it? Molly asked, gliding around it. It's a trap, Ratchet proclaimed, a scriptlet trap. Bulkhead looked into it nervously. An imp scriptlet trap. Okay, that's bad. Molly cringed, landing next to Miko. Most likely ejected into space eons ago, only to wind up in the Arctic, where the temperature kept them in stasis. Ratchet explained. Until we brought the thaw. Jack finished, walking up. Now they're wide awake and ready to brunch. So? Raph asked, how many are we talking about? Ratchet transformed his forearm back into a servo. Thousands. And the power malfunctions and ground bridge damage are sure signs that their infestation is well underway. Molly nodded, looking into the trap. So they don't like they cold? She questioned, hand on her chin. If we can get them in one place, I might be able to do something about it. Meanwhile in the Arctic, Optimus is climbing down a large wall of ice, scanning the area. His body covered in ice, and his insignia flashes blue. He looked at his shoulder, and put his hand up to his comm. RC, what's your status? He looked over the snow, waiting for a response. My sensor's going off. Guess we should call for pickup before things get chilly. Prime nodded, hanging on to a ledge. Optimus to base, core temperature readings have reached the blue zone. Prepare to activate ground bridge. He reported into the comm, awaiting for Ratchet to respond. His comm was filled with static, and he looked onward. That's odd. Ratchet to Optimus, do you read me? We have a situation. The screens went blank, and I sat there, frozen. The scriptlets have gotten into the comlink system. Ratchet smashed his fist onto the keyboard. If we don't eradicate these creatures immediately, they will reduce the entire base to a scrap heap. Great, now what are we going to do? I flailed. We can't open the ground bridge, we can't communicate with the others. Hell, we can't even turn on the TV. Bulkhead waved his arm wildly. Well, I say we bug out of here and let them keep it. B nodded in agreement, and I growled. Evacuation is not an option. Me and Ratchet objected at the same time, making us stare at each other. Jinx. If we don't get the ground bridge online stat, Ratchet countered, Optimus and RC will perish. I gasped, hands flying to my mouth. They will? Jack questioned surprised, and Miko stomped towards Bulkhead. Bulkhead, you never run. I sighed, as Bulkhead recalled his experiences with these vermin. They pick you apart from the inside out, going for the small juicy bits first. Fuse by fuse, circuit by circuit, till there's nothing left, and I mean nothing. Not even your optics. I looked down, examining my knuckles. Will they even go through skin to get it? Jack walked up, and I heard sittering in the vents. You have to let us help. Jack declared. We're not made of metal. Raph finished, opening his arms. I felt Miko glance at me, and I sighed, walking up to her. Yeah, the scriptlets can't hurt us. Ratchet walked up from the side, and I heard his footsteps before I could even glance. Typically I find your fleshiness to be your least engaging quality. He confessed, but it would appear to provide an advantage under these extremes. I smiled at his words, and looked upward, my ears picking up more scampering. Okay, good. Jack addressed, so we pair off, one bot, one human. I'll watch your back while you repair the ground bridge. Miko pointed towards Bulkhead and B, and we go on a bug hunt. I smirked at Bulkhead's ah hell nah face, and jumped onto the railing. Though perhaps I should do a surveillance check in the halls. Check for any broken wires or cables, maybe smash some walking piranhas. I thumbed at myself, and took off. Let's just hope Optimus and RC finds shelter soon. I sprout claws on the ends of the wings, combining the fleshy bat wings with bird. I swing myself onto a cable pipe, hanging from the claws. If I was a roach, where would I be? I asked myself, sprouting my reprehensible tail, and hanging by it. My eyes focused on the dark hall, and I saw a vent opening. Bingo! I clucked, and flew over, my wings without feathers. I dug my fingers in between the grating, and threw it off. Hello, dark bug-infested highway. I whispered, looking down the scriptlet-filled vent. _ Optimus to base. Do you read? Again, static. Optimus sighed, and turned, hearing RC fall. He went to her aid, helping her back up. Are you sure a nice long drive wouldn't help? RC asked. I hear Miami's beautiful this time of year. She brushed some ice off her arm, looking at him. The nearest temperate climate is too distant, RC. Optimus affirmed, kneeling down. Attempting to reach it would expend too much energy and hasten the freezing process. He looked forward, along with RC. Until Ratchet sends for us, and he will, our best option would be to seek shelter and insulate ourselves. He got up, and trudged on. We will be lucky to find even that. RC mumbled, and walked against the wind. It sheared them down, belting them with ice. Optimus, the storm is too strong. RC stated, arms shielding her face. We can't give up. There must be a shelf to take shelter. Optimus said loudly to be heard over the howling winds. And RC wasn't the only one that heard it. A loud roar echoed through the cliffs, part roar, part screech. The two stopped dead in their tracks, and looked blindly through the snow. What was that? RC asked, striding towards Optimus. Whatever it was, it must be gone now. He stated, looking forward. That pile of snow wasn't there before. Optimus thought, squinting at the snow. It shifted, a whip-like tail coming from it. Soon a foot did, then wings flew open. A patch of horns, spiky and white, poked through, and the body came into focus. A dragon? He squinted, the snow blocking his view. Are you all right? The snow swirled, revealing the dragon. It was quite small, scales a very pale blue. The horns on its head were glittery, and its tail was whip thin. It bounded through the snow, shielding its face from the side wind with its wing. Are you two all right? It shouted again, getting closer. It stopped in front of them, tail slashing side to side. We are seeking shelter. Optimus said, looking down at the dragonet. The young one nodded, and turned around. Follow me. _ The scriptlets all turned to me, and I froze. Dead weight. I stiffened up, watching the vermin. Their mouths shot open, and flew towards me. They can fly? I screamed, and dove off. My wing beats hard, and my tail slashed back and forth as I tried to get away. I took sharp turns, flying back into a lighted hall. I could hear the drill-like sound from the scriptlets, and I screamed, as one bit my arm. Stupid little piece of scrap. I yelled, and bashed into a wall. So they will go after even if the metal is hidden. I gulped, and rolled onto my back. Have some of this. I yelled, and stretched my hands out. The ice blasted them, the freeze hitting them on the spot. At least we're good for now. I scoffed, and rolled back over, catching speed as I turned the corners. My go. Raph? I called out, searching for the others. I finally flew into the main room, and saw Jack with the fire extinguisher. Jack! I shouted, diving to his aid. You okay? I asked frantically, holding my arm. More like, are you okay? Jack exclaimed, looking at my arm. Just flesh wound. Nothing more. The others walked in, Bulkhead and B all banged up. Ratchet, get the patch kit. Bulkhead boomed, we're leaking energon like whoa. We looked up, and the scriptlets swirled around us like vultures hovering over the dead. They spotted B and Bulk first, and I dove for cover as they flew down. Bulkhead screamed like a little girl as they crawled all over them, and I shot out blasts of ice if one even came near me. The bots collapsed around me, Bulkhead screaming. I couldn't help it. The floor started to freeze over, and the ice started swirl around in waves. Eat this. I choked, and shot upwards. _ This is the best I can get. The young dragon said, huddling along a break in the ice. "Thank you." Optimus thanked, trying to get a name. "It's Hale. Ask for me when you see the Queen again." He shouted, and ran off, a bag flying behind him. Optimus and RC collapsed on the break, ice crawling up. "RC, wake up!" Optimus said, looking down at the curled up Fem. She groaned, picking her head up, "Just resting my eyes." Optimus looked down, the frost covering his helm. "The longer we remain alert, the longer we remain alive." "What do you suggest?" RC pondered, looking at him. "Wait. How about a game? Let's play who screwed things up back at base?" RC suggested, knees curled up against her chest. Optimus looked forward, back at the trails the Dragonet left behind. "Our predicament could be the result of a simple malfunction," Optimus said, looking down. "Caused by Bulkhead." RC finished, "Let's see. No comm link. Maybe even no power. The big lug probably tripped over a cord. He's never been too graceful." RC set her head on her knees, looking out. "Remember when we first arrived on Earth and Bulkhead walked into those power lines?" She chuckled, "Who knew he could dance like that?" "Bulkhead may be too large for this world," Optimus said, stopping at one point, "but his inner strength is without bounds. One should not be measured by size alone." RC looked at him, as he looked out onto the storm. "And what about Molly?" RC asked, shivering. "You stare at her sometimes. And you don't stare at anybody like that." Optimus sighed, looking over to her. "Molly's spirit and strength is admirable. Her leadership skills need work, but she has seemed to rule her kingdom respectfully. She knows what is right for her subjects, and, even though she doesn't show it much, can be very mature." RC chuckled once more. "Tell that to when you stared at her when she walked out with her dress." Underscore. I groaned, heaving my wings up. "And when I think I can't get any more injured, y'all come in with a chainsaw to the neck." I looked over to my friends, who were beating the dead scriptlets unmercifully. "Did we get them all?" Jack asked, lowering the nozzle. I shook my head, hearing the whirring of teeth from every angle. "Hardly." Ratchet groaned, "These were just scouts." We buzzed, falling backwards. "So the rest of them know we're in here?" Bulkhead managed to get out, and I bent my knees, getting up. "And if we allow ourselves to become their next meal," Ratchet claimed, "Optimus and RC will never make it home. We must get the ground bridge operational." I sighed, my head lowering. My hair, tangled and messy, fell over my face. "Then we can use it to send the scriptlets anywhere on Earth," Raphael pointed out. "Why not back to the Arctic? We already know they don't do cold," Jack suggested, and I smiled. Someone is finally using their brain. I chuckled lowly, hobbling over to them. "Sweet. One-stop shopping," Maiko exclaimed, waving her wrench around. Given the body mass of the scriptlets, sub-zero temperatures should freeze them on contact. Ratchet affirmed, "So think, Ratchet, think. If the ground bridge is still down, there must be a breach in the energon fuel line." Ratchet realizes, perking up. We buzzed, exasperated, and failed at getting up. "If we weren't breaching," Bulkhead groaned, "one of us could get back over there and fix it." I snapped my fingers, and looked in my ragtag group. "Where do we find it?" Jack asked. "And how do we fix it?" Raphael walked up. "The mystery gang is back," I chattered, pumping my fist. The scriptlets were everywhere, on the walls, on the floors, on the ceilings, all with their mouth wide open. We tiptoed through the crowd of vermin, going over them. I had to basically freeze my whole body to keep the scriptlets from detecting the adamantium on my bones. "Remember, we're okay," Jack reassured us, "we're not metal." I scoffed, and caught a glimpse of blue liquid seeping through a pipe. "There's the breach," I said, jogging over. "Come on," Jack said, opening the toolbox, "we have to work fast." I nodded, and started working. Patching up the pipe was easy, but hitting my head on the pipe when the scriptlets started flying out was not fun. "They're getting ready to fee," Raph yelled, jumping off the pipe. "We have to go," I yelled, and grabbed them. Hold on. I started running as fast as I could, dragging them with me. Molly, slow down. Maiko yelled, holding onto my forearm. We're almost there. I shouted, turning one final time. Ratchet, all systems go. I jumped up, sprinting away from the clouds of metal. Fire it up. Ratchet groaned, getting up, ground bridge activated. He breathed, collapsing on the ground. It opened up, and my eyes widened. We're coming, Optimus. Don't give out just yet. Bulkhead got up, waving his hands in front of the portal. Ready for the main course? He taunted, turning into the portal. Come and get it. I gasped as he ran in, and I looked up. They're taking it. I shouted, my lips turning upward. The scriptlets swirled, following a direct line into the ground bridge. Finally! I yelled, jumping up. Optimus was leaning on a platform, along with Ratchet and Bulkhead. B and RC were having their vitals checked on the berths. Raph, Maiko and Jack were checking everyone's statistics, and I was checking Optimus's while treating the bite on my arm. Old school. Why does alcohol burn so much? I winced, dabbing the wound. It should be fine now, Molly. Jack said, looking at me. Good. I sighed in relief, and threw the cotton wad at him. Report biocircuitry status. Ratchet told Jack, looking down at them. Levels are rising. Jack said, giving a thumbs up. Excellent. Raphael, keep a close watch on Bumblebee's electropulse monitor. Maiko, check Bulkhead's interface patch. It's steady. Raph reported. Looking good. Maiko assured. And Molly? He turned towards me, as I watched the screen of my laptop. Core temperature rising. I reported, putting a band-aid on a bleeding cut. Perhaps you should get some rest yourself, old friend. Optimus suggested to the doctor, you saved quite a few lives today. He smiled, the first I've seen for a while. It wasn't all my doing. Ratchet smiled gently, we're just fortunate that this infestation happened on a Saturday. I grinned weakly, holding a jot pad. Our human friends may be small, but they are strong. Optimus replied, and I looked down to Maiko, noticing the small black dots scurrying her way. She screeched, jumping up. The boys jumped in front of her, holding crowbars. Scriptlet. Maiko looked like she just saw her murdered cousin. Spider. Is it on me? I started cracking up, watching her run around. Did she just scream like a little girl? Bulkhead asked, and I rolled my head backwards. This is too funny. I laughed, wiping a tear from my eye. Molly. I turned, my face still grinning. Yes? I replied to my guardian, leaning on the railing. Why were you gone for so long? Optimus questioned, looking at me. I froze, and started to mess with my hair. Well, I was in California. I answered, biting my lip. Why were you in California? Jack asked, face contorted into an odd expression. I got a call, from someone important. I said nervously, seeing Maiko walk back from around the tube. Who? I smiled, pulling out the jot pad. Oh, just the CEO of the Universal Music Group. I shouted, beaming. No way. Maiko yelled, running to me. Lucian Greyinch? Why would he call you? She asked, grabbing my hands. He gave me a record deal. I squealed, jumping up and down. Now friggin' way. She squealed also, jumping up and down. We are going to be a band that is broadcasted on the radio? Maiko shouted, smiling from ear to ear. Yes. I yelled, and hugged her. Everyone was staring at us like we were crazy, except Trev and Jack. Their jaws were hanging down in disbelief. What song did he listen to? She asked, squeezing my hands. I have no idea. I shouted, and bounced up. I'm going to go call Logan. Well, that's the ending of that chapter. I do hope you enjoy this video. If you like to see more, remember to hit that like button, subscribe to this channel and leave a comment down below. Until next time.